Let's talk a little bit more about open source versus closed source, because I think this is arguably the most important theme right now.
Yeah.
When it comes to foundational models.
Yeah.
Right now in the political climate, open source models are a double-edged sword. We've got the benefit of open source is that anyone can download it, use the weights, fine-tune it, and then host it on US data centers, regardless of where it comes from. There's also the thinking that open source is dangerous if it falls into the wrong hands or if it's from an enemy country, things like that nature. And closed source model labs are lobbying against that, right? It's a typical government corporate kind of dynamic that we're seeing. What's your opinion on open source versus closed source in the long term? And obviously, how does Perplexity kind of orchestrate that? It's agnostic, but how do you orchestrate that over the long term? But then also, what do you think is best for society and competition?
Well, a lot of the technology that we use that power our phones, our laptops, our internet is built on open source software and protocols that have been developed by a lot of people working together. And we trust that, and our whole world runs using that. Linux, Android, they're all like open source projects. The internet is essentially like based on protocols that were built in open source, early open source days. And so, like if it's all about safety and trust, like open source is the only approach that's worked out. And so that should be the case even for AI. And I think Bill Gurley made this point, which I like to repeat, which is, if something is really dangerous, you probably want more eyes on the ball, more eyes on it, right? Not fewer, because then it goes by what that group of people say. Especially if that group of people are the ones lobbying for banning open source, then it kind of becomes clear conflict of interest, especially when their business interests are aligned with like open source being banned, because that's what lets them raise more capital to build bigger data centers and charge more for the APIs. And the claims on safety concerns may not even be true. Even if it is true, it's better those models are out there and for us to verify ourselves, and like a lot more people get to have a say on it. And then if the wide consensus is that it's actually like pretty dangerous, then we should figure out a way to make sure like these things are developed in a safe way, right? Right now, the safety concerns are overhyped, and until we have any models that are super intelligent at the level of like a cluster of running or serving that model, or like a group of such models essentially becomes a national level threat, which is not the case today. The concerns on open source are not justified. And so I think I'm very pro open source for the moment, and I believe that it's going to make application layers flourish. There'll be a lot more companies that are able to serve these models in a sustainable way, build their businesses, deliver direct value to the user, monetize them effectively, and like create a lot of economic value. So that's amazing, and we are trying to do that, and I'm also seeing several other companies that are doing that. And in the next 5 years, I hope like there's a lot more AI native applications that deliver a lot of value to people in a model agnostic way.